Hey now, it is fermented pickle time, and I'm excited because this is my first time fermenting pickles in this 1 gallon crock, so it's going to be fun. It also means that I'm not 100% sure of my water volume that I'm going to, or my brine volume I'm going to require, but we're going to figure it out. So the first step here is to get the brine heating up. So I've got this pot and I want to make a 2% saline brine. So for that, I'm gonna make 2 liters here. So I'm going to put 40 grams of pickling salt in there, and then I'm just going to top this up until I hit 2,000 grams total. All right, there we are. So I'm just going to go and pop this on the stove, heat it up to help all that salt dissolve. So it's funny, I barely had to heat this water at all, and that salt dissolved really quite nicely, so that's great. If you do wind up heating this up more, then you would want it to cool. You don't want it super hot going on to all the ingredients here. You might damage the possibility of a proper fermentation. So step number 1 here is I want to start off with a sanitized jar. So I'm going to be spraying this out here with some of my Star San sanitizer, which works great because it's just a contact sanitizer. You don't need to rinse it or anything like that once it's done, and it works very effectively within about 30 seconds or so to create a nice sanitized jar. So I'm going to quickly go and just drain this off. Now, alternatively, depending on your jar, you could also give it a nice hot water bath. You could run it in the dishwasher to heat sterilize it, but this will work for my purposes. Now, I'm going to be having multiple layers of these cucumbers in here. So because of that, I'm actually going to start off with a layer of cukes running around in here. As opposed to dumping seasonings and everything on the bottom, I'm going to dump them over top of this first layer, and then they'll sort of be in the middle and then down towards the bottom. So, time to layer up here. Okay, so that is good for layer number 1. Now that I've got that in there, I'm going to add some of this fresh dill. And by the way, I rinsed off all of the produce just in case there was anything on it. Put a nice healthy dose of dill in here. To that I'm going to add, this was 1 small onion that all I did was just kind of slice it up. I'm going to break it up a little bit. This goes into here. I have 20 cloves of garlic that I just sliced in half. Will go in as well. I'm going to be adding in a heaping tablespoon of black peppercorns. That will be a heaping tablespoon. Same quantity here of yellow mustard seeds. I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of pickle crisp, which is calcium chloride, and that will help ensure that these stay nice and crisp. I mean, this fermentation process, because you're not heating it up at all, does work to have a relatively crisp pickle anyway, but this is just giving us every advantage here. So I'm going to add that, and now it is time for some more cucumbers. So I'm just going to angle this, pack away here. Okay, there we are. So I didn't quite jam pack this top layer as tightly as the bottom because I ran out of cucumbers, but that's okay. I'm going to add some more of this fresh dill into here, just like so. There we go. Beautiful. And now I can add my brine. Perfect. So I wound up using 1.75 liters of that brine. Beautiful. Now I'm just going to get a weight to put down in here. Okay, so I've sanitized a couple of these nice glass weights, because I believe I'm going to need a couple of them just to make sure that nothing is really able to poke up. So between that and this shoulder here, it should be good. Now I'm hoping, so I've got about 1.5 inches of headspace here. I'm hoping that the liquid doesn't rise up so far as to try to come out, because once fermentation starts, it will heat up a little bit. But I've got this lid on here, and I've got it on loosely just so that gas can escape during fermentation as it's producing CO2 during that lactobacillus fermentation. So now we just need to get this in place. Here we are in a kitchen cabinet. I did go ahead and place this on a glass pie dish here, just in case if this does heat up and if the brine level gets a little high and leaks down just a little bit, it's simply going to collect in the plate. But I guess we'll find out whether that is actually necessary or not. But now, like I said, lid is loose to allow for gas to come out, and I'm going to close up the cabinet and just check on it. So maybe a day or two in, we might see some activity here. And I do have this up here in the kitchen because it's important to have it in a warm spot. Ideally, you'd be up in the mid-70s Fahrenheit or at least low 70s. So it's going to be close to that here in the kitchen, which will be great for that lactobacillus. So we're about a day and a half in, and you can see lots of activity taking place in here. The brine's got all cloudy. So lots of bacterial awesomeness happening here. Excellent. So I'm going to leave this for, I don't know, several days until we feel like we're good. After 8 days, that nice vigorous fermentation activity appears to have died down. Looks like a lot of that bacteria is just settling out here. So I'm going to go and get this into the fridge and keep it nice and cold for some time. Okay, I'm doing this down here because it is chaotic upstairs. People are trying to make dinner, and it was simply not going to work to chat about this up there. So after the sufficient amount of time, these pickles are ready. I've actually been snacking on them a little bit. I just didn't have a chance to shoot a video. I just have this crock hanging out in the basement fridge here, and they're staying absolutely delightful. So, ooh, take a look at that beautiful little pickle there. That beautiful sour complexity you get with the fermentation as opposed to just using vinegar and the acetic acid is absolutely delightful in here. I think the crunch, there's still some decent crunch to this, but it's not quite as much as I get with my sous vide pickles. So a little bit of a trade-off, but as far as flavor, beautiful amounts of dill, lots of garlic, everything that I was looking for in these nice, delicious fermented pickles. So really easy to do, just need a little bit of equipment, and they're awesome. Make a whole whack load of them, keep them in the fridge, and they're ready to go anytime. So yeah, until next time, keep it 11.